Hi, my name is Mike Everett, and the purpose of this briefing is to introduce to you my proposed social problem for our group to work on, and also to explain to you why I think it's appropriate. As you can see, I've used a world map. This truly is an international problem, and it not only affects the international community, of course, but also us. My outline, I hope to define the problem for you, assess current efforts that are being done in the city of Fredericksburg, explain to you and illustrate to you the finished solution, and then provide a little bit of focus if we decide to work on this project in a small group. It's a national problem. I think all of us are touched by those pictures that we see of those homeless camps in California and New York City. Who can't be? So regardless of what side of the political spectrum you sit on, this truly is a humanitarian issue that I think we all need to address. Prior to COVID-19, prior to the pandemic, the United States had a little over 500,000 homeless people, but it's very hard to measure because homeless people seek temporary solutions that aren't long-term solutions, and those numbers aren't counted. As we all know, many homeless have interrelated problems to do with healthcare, drug addiction, interpersonal skills, a whole host of issues that need to be addressed. The higher cost of housing is not necessarily the reason for increased homelessness, but it is a part of it. Problem in Fredericksburg. I briefly examined the Fredericksburg plan, and in my humble opinion, it lacks a comprehensive approach. They don't get the other regions outside of Fredericksburg won't support them, won't contribute financially, lacks a long-term approach, and we will talk about that with the finished solution. Hotels versus apartments. City manager is short-sighted. He is part of a paradigm of seeking incremental temporary solutions that don't address what I think is the main problem, and that's the reintegration. Cities, something to note, Fredericksburg has one of the highest crime rates of any small city in America. And once again, to recap that slide, in my humble opinion, no comprehensive reintegration approach for homeless in the city of Fredericksburg. Let's talk about the finished solution. In very simple terms, the finished solution, the Finns have rejected the staircase model. The staircase model is an incremental approach where you initially try to solve the problem through temporary solutions, homeless buildings, hotels, etc. The Finns believe that quick reintegration into society is based upon long-term solutions to housing. In other words, put homeless in apartments and integrate them with middle-class communities. Finns believes housing is an unconditional right and responsibility of the state to provide to people. We touched about this earlier. Instead of temporary solutions, look at long-term solutions. Build apartments, reintegrate them into middle-class communities, provide essential services, we all do that, teach basic life skills, and focus on a comprehensive long-term and reintegration plan. The city of Fredericksburg continues to be short-sighted. They focus on short-term solutions, hotels, homeless communities, instead of reintegrating them into society, into the Fredericksburg area. So my recommendation is adopt the finished model, change the paradigm, and get the Rappahannock elites to buy into this program. It's an appropriate project that's affecting all of us. As I said from the very beginning, you look at these conditions these homeless people have to live in. I mean, I think we'll have a responsibility, whether you're a moderate, a conservative, a liberal, to do something about this and influence our elected officials to take an unconventional approach, the approach that the Finns did. It's a very large problem. You can examine this in many different ways. However, to help the small group in analyzing the issue and really identifying if the finished model work or not, I asked the small group examine the cultural differences. Can it work in Fredericksburg? Examine our own paradigm. Can you take homeless people and reintegrate them into middle-class communities? And is it even possible to fully reintegrate the homeless?